that we would see Jesus. Yeah, and that puts me in mind, actually, of something that Jesus said in Matthew chapter 13. He said, seeing they don't see, and hearing they don't hear. So it's possible to actually not get it, you know? For example, have you ever thought about how hard it would be to describe the color red to somebody who was born blind? Or let's say, try to describe the color blue to someone who has been born blind.
That would be really difficult. I mean, how do you do that? It's not the same as yellow. And red, or you're talking about blue?
Yeah, if I was you, Mike, if I was trying to describe blue, I'd say it's my wife's eyes.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's what I'd say. Yeah.
But if they can't see.
If they can't
But if they can't see her eyes, I'm sorry for them.
It's impossible.
Yeah. No, but the point I guess we're trying to make is that you can't describe color to someone who's born blind because there's no place in their head to grab onto that.
Yeah, like
there's
Jesus,
no handle.
Jesus says, seeing they can't see.
Exactly, in Matthew 13.
Yeah.
Seeing they can't see, hearing they can't hear.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
It's impossible.
I think, is it their fault that they can't see?
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, if I can't see something, I'm born blind. I mean, I've met blind people. I've worked with blind people. I've had some good friends who are blind people. And, I mean, is it their fault? No, of course not.
Yeah.
So if I can't see, you know,
Spiritually
speaking, then I could pretend I see. You know, everyone else sees it. So, do you see that boat? Yeah, I see the boat, right? You know, it's right out there over on the sea, right? And
in other words, you can play along with people who are spiritually dialed in with Jesus and have that experience. You can kind of try and bluff like you have it.
yeah.
But in your heart of hearts, you know, and of course God knows too,
Yes.
that you're not there.
Yeah,
You don't
that's
have
right.
that deeper experience.
And so you fake it, and you just never do make it. And so it's like, how do I get that? How do I get that conversion? For yourself, Lee, how did you get that experience?
Well, in the previous episode that we talked about my father getting there, and how for him it was a slower process. We talked about this 3 legs of the stool: the Bible study, prayer, and share. Bible study to get to know Jesus, prayer to communicate with him as friend, and then sharing with others. And my dad, he started doing that. And this is old stuff in the previous episode. They started doing that with a prayer that Jesus would take him to a deeper experience. And it didn't happen quickly. But he said he white-knuckled his way to the click, which is another way of saying I hung on for dear life and I kept working those 3 legs. And eventually, the promise of Jesus in John 3 that if you will lift me up, I will draw you in, happened for him. And that happened slowly. For me, it happened a little differently. It was... I was a preacher's kid, obviously, and I had grown up in. I'm a 4th or 5th generation Christian household, and but it's boring to me. I don't have the click. I'm clickless, and I go to church. I go to the youth department of our church just so I can hang out with my friends and have donuts, you know, because they're giving away free donuts. Like, who wouldn't want to go have free donuts? As good as your Tim Horton donuts. Yeah, good stuff. And then. But another thing was that I went to parochial schools, church schools, and I took religion classes, and I would get A's in religion class, but it didn't really mean anything because I didn't have the click. And so for me, it's just information.
On the surface.
Boring.
Yeah, and not even on the surface. I mean, you just don't even want to.
I don't really give a rip.
Yeah.
I'm just performing because that's expected of me, and I need to do a good job.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then one Friday night, my girlfriend was out of town for the weekend, and I didn't know what to do. And I thought, well, I'll go hang out with some guy friends. So I went down to a friend's house. His name was Chris. Knocked on his door. He said, hey, what's up? I said, that's what I'm wanting to know. What's up? My girlfriend's gone, and I thought I'd come hang out with you. And he said, great. I'm going to a Bible study. Come along. And my mouth dropped open. I said, no way, you're not going to a Bible study. You're going to a party, so where's the party? He said, I'm not going to a party. I'm going to a Bible study. Well, I couldn't believe it, because if you knew Chris the way I knew Chris, you would never expect him to be at a Bible study. I said, you and who else? He named off a bunch of other people who are going to be at the Bible study, And they were all what you might call, back in my day, you might call them the users and abusers, the potheads, the freaks, the dealers and the dopers. Anyway.
Not the kind of guys who would be hanging out at Bible study.
Right, yeah. A bunch of party animals. And I'm not talking about Republicans and Democrats. Party animals. And so he tells me that's who's going to be at the party. I'm thinking, I'd have to see that to believe it. Now, I think it's probably important to maybe do a little time out here and tell you kind of a behind-the-scenes story of how that actually happened, how that came to be, that there would be a bunch of party animals Bible study group.
Yeah.
And how it happened was some weeks earlier at a party on a Friday night, when they were all, I guess if I could just use the word wasted, they were in various states of ruin and disorder, mentally. One of them said, "Hey man, I was thinking, man, what if there's really a God? Wow. And what if he wants to connect with us, man? And what if we missed out on the whole gig because we were so turned off from church that we had no interest in connecting with him? What do you think about that, man?" And in that state of mind that they were in, they had to think slowly, and so there was a long period of quiet, and then someone said, "Oh wow, man." And someone else said, "Major bummer, dude." And finally the original guy goes, "Well, okay, so what should we do, man?"